now, we are focused on increasing Africa's representation in global MBA programs. But there's so much more to us than this. Our vision as an organization is to build an economically and politically inclusive Africa that is self-perpetuating. And we plan to do this by equipping young Africans like you, like me, to identify, support, and execute practical ventures to drive Africa's growth and development in an efficient and sustainable manner. Our aims and objectives are very simple. First, we look to empower young Africans by supporting 1,000 or more Africans into top global MBA programs.
Oh, you know what? No.
Okay, come in.
I want to join.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. And let me see. Lambs, I think your screen. Do you want to? Sorry. So sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. So that I can. Okay. Let me share my screen instead. Okay. Can everyone see? Okay. Yes. So I was talking about aims and objectives at Lean. We also look to strengthen existing communal connections amongst African MBA students by connecting majority of Africans across diverse MBA programs together. What are some of our guiding principles at Lane? We are a selfless community. We are very diverse. So you would find a ton of Africans from different countries, as part of this community. We're a creative team, very inclusive and also accountable to each other. What is our membership requirement? Very simple. You just have to be an African, who knows what it's like to live in Africa. So we all share very relatable experiences. At least 20 years of age, you have to be self-motivated and very enthusiastic about the MBA or looking to apply, either looking to apply a current student or an alum. And also, academically qualified for an MBA. I mean, because you would be applying. Yes, and this is our info. If you have any questions, feel free to email us here. I'm sure Franklin would also help us drop our social media handles in the chat for anyone who wants to follow us and who has any specific questions. We have a very thriving Telegram page where we share tons of information about the different, initiatives that we have. So that's it about Lane. Like I said today, we are absolutely excited to be hosting the team from Vanderbilt, the Owen Graduate School of Management. We're so excited. We have Ashley, we have Ajibola, and we have Mimi, who would be speaking to us today about the program, the MBA program at Vanderbilt. Thank you guys so much for doing this. It's such a pleasure to welcome the three of you. We like the smiling faces, so it means you're excited as we are, so thank you. And thanks to everyone who's hopped on. We are expecting a few more people to join the call soon, but we're happy to kick off now. So over to you, Ashley.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction. Do you mind giving me permissions to share my screen?
Yes, you have that.
Okay. Franklin, all sorted? Okay, great.
Perfect. Give me 1 second here. All righty. You can see my screen, correct? Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, perfect. One last thing.
Ashley, I don't think.
I was trying to make it full screen, but.
Yeah, hey, Ashley, I don't think we're seeing the PowerPoint anymore. I'm not sure if that's on purpose.
Oh, no. Let's try again. How about now? Still no?
No.
Okay. All righty. I don't know why it's taking so long. Give me 2 more seconds, y'all.
No problem. And in the meantime, I think while Ashley's trying to sort that out.
There we go.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, perfect. Okay.
That should be it now, right?
Yeah, we see it now.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So again, my name is Ashley Lomax. I have the pleasure of serving as the Assistant Director for MBA Recruiting and Admissions at Vanderbilt Business. I also get to serve as the lead diversity recruiter, and I get to work with fabulous students who are here like Mimi and Ajibola, and I'll hand it over to them to introduce themselves. We can start with Mimi.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today to kind of learn about the MBA experience. My name is Nimi Ajayi. I'm a second-year MBA here at Owen, and just a background on me. I know there's people from different countries on the call, I believe. So I'm originally from Nigeria. Prior to business school, I worked in the healthcare education software industry, and over the summer, I interned at Medtronic. After business school, I will be going into consulting. So if you have any questions regarding pivoting to consulting or anything of that nature, I'd be happy to answer that.
Awesome.
Yes, so my name is Ajibola, first year MBA from Nigeria, got here a few months ago. And it's a pleasure to be here. And of course, I have a prior experience. I'm a pharmacist by training, and I've had the opportunity to work in a number of pharmaceutical companies, from AstraZeneca to Servier. Servier is a French biotech company. And prior to business school, I worked as product manager Anglo-West Africa at Bayer.
Awesome, great. So this will, again, be a brief conversation. I'll try to be as informal. I want you all to be able to engage with and ask questions, even though I do have a prepared PowerPoint. It looks like we have a... Oh, nice to meet you too, Esther. Sorry, a message in the chat there. But we'll just start off by first talking about why Vanderbilt. And I'll also allow Ajibola and Nimi to input some of their decision factors on why they chose Vanderbilt. But the first thing I want to talk about is really the personal skill approach that we have to offer. So if you're looking at business schools here in the US, we are probably the smallest of the nationally ranked top 25. We really pride ourselves on offering a smaller class size to our students so you can get to know your classmates and then also others in the second year class, as well as having accessibility to staff and faculty who will know you on a first name basis. When you're looking at an MBA program, it is very much going to be an investment, right? So we find it very important for you to get to know us and then for us to get to know you so we can see more of who you are and what some of your goals are. Our student to faculty ratio is 7-to-1, and we also offer a very, very close-knit community. We also are a socially conscious program. We have the opportunity for you to have an emphasis in sustainability and social impact, which gives you about 8 courses to take regarding those issues. And then one of our hubs for social impact is our Turner Family Center. So this is a center that actually is offered to all graduate students, not just students within the business school, but you have an opportunity to look at a social problem through a business lens. So collaborating with students who may be in public policy or in public health, or really any of the different graduate programs. In the TFC, we have opportunities like board fellows, which just recently launched in 2020, which is an opportunity to sit as a non-voting member on a local nonprofit. We also have Project Pyramid, which is an opportunity for you to have a class and then also have an immersion experience, whether that's going to be nationally in the US or also internationally. And we've had great opportunities, including those in Africa. I know we've sent students to Ghana for the Project Pyramid. And then last, spearhead under the Turner Family Center is the 100% Owen Club, which is our more philanthropic club. All right, so I'll leave these rankings up here for you all. Yes? I think so. Okay, I'll leave these rankings up here for you all to see, but I'll also ask Nimi if he could chime in with maybe what he and why he chose Owen.
Yes, I can definitely do that. Thanks, Ashley. I think for a lot of the reasons that Ashley already mentioned, I went to I did my undergraduate degree here in the United States, and I went to the University of Minnesota. The school is about a 35 to 40,000 people school. and it was very easy for me to get lost. I don't think I really even remember one or two professors from my time in my undergraduate career. So I was really looking for a small program where I could, one, get to know everybody in my cohort and in the cohort that was coming after me and before me, and just form those personal relationships. I think when you're thinking about business school, there are very many programs that can offer you good education. That's why we have rankings. But at the end of the day, I really believe that what you walk out of business school with is a strong network that you can leverage post MBA. So it's, where are the people from your cohort going? How strong of a relationship do you have with them? Can you just pick up the phone and call them and say, you know what, I have this problem. I know you're in this industry. What do you think? So I definitely wanted a small program where I could, get to know my classmates as best I could. And from a faculty perspective, I have not met any professors anywhere that are as invested in students the way our faculty are. We are pretty much on first name and text messaging basis with our professors. We could just text them and say, you know what, hi Bill, I'm working on this problem. I really don't know how to go about it. And he will say, you know what, text you back, set up a time with me to go over it. So yeah, microphones on mute just so that we can all hear each other. But yeah, so I think from a professor standpoint, we have some of the most amazing professors, and we can see it in the rankings. I think Vanderbilt is ranked number 4 for best professors by Princeton Review. So I mean, I could keep going on a number of reasons that I picked Vanderbilt for a program, but I just think that it's a place that really empowers you as a student to, one, get involved, two, to make the best out of your experience. I'm currently the president of our Black Students Association, and it's just given me opportunities to take up some leadership roles within the program, and that in itself creates a visibility for you. So I'll stop I'll stop there and maybe allow Jibola to share one or two things about why he picked the program.
Yes, absolutely, Nimi. Thank you for that. So I'm a pharmacist by training. I trained at the University of Maiduguri. And for those of you that know Nigeria, you would know Maiduguri is at the core northern part of Nigeria. And of course, due to my background and the training which I've had, I thought to myself, I mean, I had a number of reasons, right? So I would like to start by sharing with you a quote from one of my favorite professors at the Vanderbilt business, and Professor Frob, just by the way. So now my professor would always say, when you're trying to make a decision, you want to look ahead and reason backwards, right? So when I completed my training at the University of Maiduguri, I worked in a number of pharmaceutical companies that worked across countries. Worked across countries, right? So I started to look ahead and reason backwards. I started to think to myself, I mean, where do I see myself in the immediate term? What's the short-term goal? What's the mid-term goal? What's the long-term goal? And of course, what university, what program would offer me this opportunity, right, to get to the peak of my career? So, I mean, judging by my background, I had to look for a program that had a healthcare concentration. And this was one of the reasons why I chose Vanderbilt business. And I mean, Ashley mentioned it, and Mimi also mentioned it. You want to be in a program that is highly ranked. I mean, Vanderbilt consistently across different ratings that's ranked amongst the top 25 business schools in the United States. And I mean, when you're looking at this compared to the over 1,000 programs available in the United States, you'd of course want to be a part of a program where, you would have in a highly ranked program. Now, Ashley mentioned global business on a personal scale, right? Of course, it's not a one size fits all. You want a program where you have the opportunity to customize, your program based on your needs, right? So you're not trying to have everything. You already have a clear goal of where you see yourself, and of course, the courses, the classes, the programs which you need to be a part of to enable you achieve your objective. Of course, you want to have a program that allows you to have this customization. So it's truly global business on a personal scale, right? So you have the opportunity to pick the programs that best meet your needs. And there is one point which I would like to stress on, which is the leadership development program. Now, beyond the programs which you have, in the classroom, I mean, there are skills, soft skills, right, which you're going to deploy for the rest of your professional career. And it might interest you to note, I mean, not every program would have the opportunity to provide an access to a leadership coach for every single member of the MBA program. If you want to know, I could share with you the name of my leadership coach. His name is Stan Green. You could go online and check. I mean, he's been a leadership coach for over 20 years, right? So it's a mix of everything, right? You want to be in a place where you have a voice, like Nimi mentioned. You want to be in a place where you could, know everyone by name. I mean, not everyone has heard the name Ajibola before in the community, but trust me, it's very difficult for me to walk through the hallway at the business school and not, be able to interact freely with my peers. So I think I would like to stop here for now. And of course, I'm happy to provide you with more reasons why I chose Vanderbilt Business.
Awesome. Thank you to the both of you. We'll go a little bit and talk specifically about some highlights for international students. I'll let you all maybe talk about the career side, if that's okay, as I know you all probably are heavily using the Career Management Center. But I'll first talk about the academic options. So again, I talked about personal scale. So in Ajibola hinted on our mission statement, so I won't talk much about that. But the next is going to be our customizable curriculum. So for us, we organize our areas of study in what we call concentrations, specializations, and emphasis. Think of your concentrations more so of like a minor or major, if you will. And then your specializations and emphasis can be more like undergraduate minors. That's in comparison, they're not necessarily the same. You can have more than one concentration very seamlessly, as many classes are going to overlap. You also can have, more than one specialization and emphasis as well, but the courses and how many you take are a little bit smaller. But with it being customizable, how our classes are structured is in a mod system. A mod is similar to like a quarter, if you will. So imagine a semester cut in half. So classes can go very fast, but you're going to take your core courses in your first mod, and you're going to take them with all of your classmates. And then that second mod, you have that ability to take what we call your elective credits. And why that's pretty unique is because with so many MBA programs, you're not taking elective credits until maybe your second year. But we've seen our students to have this a breadth of knowledge when they're really going into like their intern search, and then the recruiting process as it relates to just having the breadth and more knowledge than necessarily just their core courses. You also have the opportunity to engage in experiential learning. That's going to be opportunities through like Project Pyramid that I mentioned, or if you're interested in healthcare, for example, you may take a part of the healthcare immersion week where you're in a hospital, maybe looking at an OR room and thinking about all the business analytics that may go into really an OR. And then we also have our STEM designations for international students, in particular, if you're looking for additional time for OPT. Those designations come in the concentrations of finance and operations and data analytics. But now I'll let you all talk about the career options that are available, and maybe that may be a little bit unique.
Ajibola, you can start.
Oh, well, I mean, so I got here sometime in August, for my program, and I would say right from the time I was in Nigeria, I was contacted by the Career Management Center. And of course, they've really been highly impactful in my search for an internship. Now, as an international student, we have some peculiarities, right? We have some concerns. You're looking at what's the resume, how should my resume be like? How should my cover letter? What should be the content? What should be the concept? How do I have the flow? I've richly benefited from the support and the resources available at the Career Management Center. Like I said, I mean, it feels good not to have a one-size-fits-all, right? You're speaking with a career coach that understands the industry and says, you know what, this is what's obtainable here. This is the way you write your resume in the American context. I mean, so even before I left Nigeria, I'd been in touch with the Career Management Center. They had, offered me support for my resume, for the cover letter, and of course, this has gone a long way in helping me in the search, for an internship. And of course, next summer, I have a number of companies which I'm speaking with. I've had the opportunity. We have every other week, the international search group where all the international students, of course, because you you want to intern with a company, that you get the opportunity, to join after your program, of course. So we have like every other week an opportunity where all the international students come. It's facilitated by the Career Management Center. And of course, you're able to share your burst learning, your experience sharing, and of course, they're able to prepare you, of what you would expect in a real interview situation. So I think personally, I've richly benefited from the Career Management Center. And of course, I will hand it over to Nimi.
Yeah, thanks, Ajibola. Yeah, Ajibola's kind of touched on both the personal career coach, the Career Management Center. We also have what's called like a peer coach. So typically, the administration picks, or students actually apply to be peer coaches. So this would be second years that have been through the process, that have successfully recruited. I've interned at different, industries, whether it's healthcare, finance, tech, and you're kind of paired with a peer coach. I think a peer coach has a couple of people that they're paired with to kind of help them navigate that process. So when you're coming into business school, you have your background that's already set. You've created your resume. You've crafted your cover letter. But there's also stuff that happens in business school that you can elevate and highlight that can better improve your chances of recruiting successfully with the company that you want to talk to. So peer coaches are a very great resource. I know some people might not always want to go to the administration and be like, okay, I have this problem, but you have your fellow student that you can just reach out to that has been in your shoes, that you just text or ask a question and say, what, how do I go about this? I'm thinking, I'm thinking about this. How did you do this? So those opportunities are definitely there. And I also want to just reiterate the Career Management Center. There are different opportunities that they are aware of that you might not even know exist. So forming and having a strong relationship with them, you're really able to get that insight on, what companies are hiring, what the process is like, the timelines, because timelines in the MBA program are really different and important depending on the industry you're trying to go to. So you definitely don't want to get caught missing a certain timeline. So they really partner with you to shape your journey. And outside of that, there are also like career fairs that you can go for, even outside of the CMC, to talk to more companies. And the CMC still partners with you on that journey. The last National Black Conference that we were at, the CMC actually flew out to Chicago with us. They had a booth and we would go there, talk about strategy in interacting with these companies. And they were there, cheering us on, helping us, manage, because there are, I think, over 200 companies there, and you need a strategy to be effective because a lot of people are out there looking for jobs. So they're there coaching us and helping us to be successful. And I think on the career side, Vanderbilt definitely offers a very strong advantage. I would say we are top 25, but out of all the companies that I talked to throughout my recruiting experience, Vanderbilt was the one school that was not in the top 20 that was punching above its weight. And I think we also benefit from being part of the greater Vanderbilt University, and that is Owen, which is, top 15 institutions in the country. So the brand name is really strong. You walk into anywhere and say, I'm at Vanderbilt Owen, and you immediately get respect, and they want to hear what you have to say. So from that part, it also makes recruiting easy. You look at different consulting companies that have target schools that they go to. Vanderbilt is on every or at least most of those lists. So we have the big companies coming to Vanderbilt to recruit. So you have that opportunity to recruit at top firms, top companies across different industries. So from a career perspective, I think from my experience, Vanderbilt has been really beneficial in helping me achieve my goals that I had coming to do my MBA.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nimi Ajibola. I'll hit on the last section and community, and then these are also repeated other places of the slide, so I may skip over them then. But first, I want to talk about the community of Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville has been recently ranked and continues to be ranked as one of the fastest growing cities in America. I didn't know what that really meant until I moved here. So I came to Owen in January 2020, but literally you can't go anywhere without seeing construction or a crane in the sky. I can look out my apartment window right now, which is about a mile from campus, and there's literally cranes, just construction, because so many people are moving to Nashville. And with that happening, there's jobs coming into the area, but there's also diversity. People are coming from all across the country and all across the world to Nashville, Tennessee. So you have a place for you. There's also, I know I made this joke to Ajibola, like I was very quick to find out who had the best jollof rice in the city when I got to Nashville. But there's also an international student care group. It's really an opportunity, really a casual type of opportunity for students to be able to connect with other students who are coming, trying to get accustomed to the US, get accustomed to just being maybe the only person in their family miles and miles away, and just having a sense of community to bond and connect. I remember students maybe didn't even know the customs of going to order a drink at maybe a social event or a restaurant, and talking about that and what that looks like, and helping students through that. They also feed you. I know that that's a pretty good part, at least exciting for many students. You know, when you're in graduate school, the free meal is very, very beneficial when you're, on a strict budget. But there's a host of different international opportunities to engage with the care group. It is led by administrators, but there's also students who really talk about what you need and what you want to have out of that. For folks who may be coming to business school with a partner or with a family, we also have the Owen Partners Association. I think that's something also pretty unique to Owen, where that's a supportive group for students who are looking for housing, or maybe you're looking and intentional about maybe a school district or childcare. The Owen Partners Association is really of partners, so it's an organization of partners and spouses to really be able to engage and connect. Vanderbilt, or Big Vandy, which is the larger university, has the International Student and Scholar Services Office. They really help at the forefront of helping you with your visa processing and so forth, but also if there's any other specific needs that you need, maybe you need a bank account, US bank account, or anything like that, they can help. Or you're looking to get maybe a driver's license in the US, there's resources for what that looks like as well. And then last but not least, there's also free English conversation groups for spouses. So if you have a family and maybe English isn't your first language or even a second or native language, you're able to have the opportunity to engage with free English conversation and courses there. So again, I mentioned why Nashville. Ajibola talked about it being a big healthcare hub. If you like a city feel, it's like that sweet spot to me in between a large city and a small town. Not even a small town, I'd say a mid-sized city, but it's very much a metropolitan area with, again, a lot of culture, a lot of festivals, a lot of things going on. It's known big for music. I was under the impression that only meant country music, but again, I've been pleasantly surprised that it's not just country music that happens and takes place in Nashville, but it's very big for live music. So if you like live music, you like live bands, you have that opportunity, or you want to just go out and listen to some music, there's very, very many places where you can go for that. If you're into sports, we have a lot of different entertainment regarding sports. One of the best hockey teams here, American football has a team here, Tennessee Titans are here, and then also there's minor league sports as well. But climate-wise, we are in the southern region of the US, so it does have a more warmer climate than some other areas, but you do get all 4 seasons. So you may get to experience some snow, but you also have a warmer and more humid summer, but really just great weather to me. I'm from the northern part of the US, so I was like, yay, no snow. And on December 4th, I was excited about that, but yeah. But the biggest thing is job market. So whether you're looking to come to stay in Nashville, maybe, you can do that, but there's also a launching pad for you to go really anywhere as far as jobs and opportunities. And if you want to get somewhere, you can get on a quick flight to any metropolitan city here in the US. And again, some other just Nashville stats, you have a pretty decent quality of life and a lower cost of living and compared to other bigger cities. Again, it is growing pretty fast. So I think that is kind of driving some of the real estate costs and so forth. But it's pretty reasonable when you're looking in comparison to some other cities like New York, Chicago, or the Los Angeles area. But yeah, come check us out. And then again, as I mentioned, thriving business environment, economic growth is happening. Facebook has just recently moved here. Amazon, big tech, obviously a lot of tech companies are coming and having operational plants here. Again, obviously healthcare is huge here. I think 1 out of every 4 or 5 beds is operated out of the Middle Tennessee area in the US. There's also Nissan here, Alliance Bernstein, Google. Oracle is set to have their headquarters here. Oracle software system, they're going to be here as well in the Middle Tennessee area. All right, so transitioning a little bit to who we are, more about our culture. We consider ourselves a competitive program, but not cutthroat. Business school is often stressful on its own, and we really want to foster a more collegiality environment for our students. So when we say we're competitive, I would like to think that it's more so students competing against other schools and really just wanting to have the best opportunity for themselves, or maybe just within themselves, but not to the point where, hey, only these ranks of students are having this opportunity, or, you know, if you have this GPA, you can only participate in this, where everything is pretty much open to everyone by student. We mentioned the class size, and then really your professors knowing you. Like Ajibola is a superstar at Owen. We talked about our faculty, Bill Christie. That's funny. I think Mimi mentioned Bill when he was talking, but Nancy Lee hired some of the best faculty in the country and in the world have come to Owen to join our faculty, and they're easily accessible to you, whether it's via text message, whether it's going across the street to a restaurant to have lunch or dinner. I think Eric, he's our accounting core professor. He has like a special, I don't want to call it like office hours, but I think office hours seems a little bit more formal. It's really like a study session for the folks who really don't love accounting on a Saturday, and you can really pop in and get whatever questions as you need for that as well. And then our class profile is listed here, and I guess for whatever reason you're to keep moving this, but you can see some metrics of what our MBA class of 2022 looks like. So the students who are graduating this spring, Nimi is a part of, there was 182 students in that class. You can see their age range. They're pretty diverse class as well, with women and international students. You can see our medium GPA if you're looking to see kind of where you compare as far as that. Also the GMAT average, and then that middle range of a 630 to a 740 for the GMAT. So I'm gonna skip some of these slides in the interest of time, and just really to give you all an opportunity to ask questions. I did want to talk a little bit about some of our diversity efforts. What I do love about Owen is that I don't think we're at a place where we feel like we've arrived, like, oh yeah, we got it all figured out. We're always pushing the grain to be better in relation to equity, diversity, and inclusion. One of our key events that we have in relation to EDI is our Diversity and Inclusion Symposium that takes place every fall, and that makes up faculty, staff, and students and community members to come and be a part of. We also have a D&I advisory board as well. So at this time, we don't have necessarily a director of equity or a manager or of EDI or anything like that sits in a particular office. We have a board that makes up faculty, staff, and students who focus on various initiatives, and that's a volunteer opportunity. I get to serve as a member of that. I know one of our things is, hey, we do actually may need a director of that, but we're right now having the opportunity to spearhead these efforts as a community focus, including like a D&I dashboard. We're able to track our progress in relation to even case competitions. So how many diverse case competitions do we have? What is our communication metrics? How do we keep integrating D&I in our speaker series? Last year, we voted on a commitment statement, and again, that was voted on by the entire faculty and staff. And then we keep adding additional case studies and then classes in relation to EDI. And we can talk more about that if you all have any questions. Here's some of our EDI partnerships that we have, just to to really meet the needs. I know Ajibola and Nimi and myself also, we got to go to Chicago for the National Black MBA Conference, and that was pretty great to be in Chicago and to see other folks looking for opportunities, but also the conference piece of it in relation to professional development. I mentioned the mod system, so I'll skip over that. I will highlight the class structure. So as you can see, you start in the summertime, really before, as Ajibola said, you may be working with Career Management Center prior to that. But then there's orientation, and that leads into mod 1. You can see your core classes listed there for that first mod. You'll have you'll have a fall break, and that's when the students are able to have those immersion experiential learning opportunities over the fall break, should they choose to. And then you have mod 2, which has some additional core courses. And then that's when you have an opportunity to take elective credit. And then you can see there's a winter break where there's a track, there's the mod 3, and then mod 4 of your first year. So here are a list of our various concentrations, specializations, and emphasis. As I mentioned earlier, the finance concentration and the operations data analytics concentration are STEM designated. Strategy, I like to point out that concentration in particular, because I think a strategy is like an American dish with bacon, right? So bacon's not necessarily maybe the best thing by itself, but it's often paired with something else. So if you're going to do strategy, definitely pair it with another concentration, and it's sometimes automatically will be a concentration that you'll get just by taking the courses that are required in another concentration. And then healthcare, I know Ajibola is looking into healthcare. That concentration is an industry concentration. So that looks a little different than the others, as those are more functional area. We talked about the STEM designated, we talked about experiential learning. I'm gonna ask if Ajibola can talk a little bit more about leadership development. I hate to put you on the spot there, but that's one of our key differentiators is that opportunity to have executive coaching.
Yes, thank you very much, Ashley. And I quite agree. I mean, because as you progress in your professional life, you would realize that you need some soft skills which you're going to use every blessed day throughout your career. So I'm privileged and opportune. So there are different approaches, right? You could have the shared approach, you could have the one-on-one approach. So I chose the shared approach. We're 3 in my team. And of course, it's quite rare for you to have, an MBA program that offers every single student in the program the opportunity to speak to a professional coach. So my coach is Stan Green. We've had a number of meetings. And of course, so the objective is this, right? I mean, it's a situation and an opportunity for you to be vulnerable and for you to, be coached on the right way for you to become the better global business leader. I mean, that way you're able to identify your strengths. Where are my strengths? Where do I do well? Where are my weaknesses? Where do I need to do better? The coach is able to help you, channel you in this direction and say, you know what? I mean, for you to be better at what you do, this is what you require. These are the skills necessary. If you want to be a global business leader, this is how you should think. This is how you should communicate. This is how you should interact. This is how you should even ask questions, right? So we might think, these things come natural to people. When you look at the top CEOs, top executives of Fortune 500 companies, they all have a certain type of character, a certain type of emotional intelligence. The way they approach things is different. The way they address situations is different. How do these people manage, to function at that level? It's due to recurrent training. And I'm grateful, honestly, because I've never had this kind of opportunity before to learn from the best. The LDP program has been a great program for me. And of course, I would highly recommend, the LDP program for every single one.
Yeah. I want to add something. I think, and maybe I'll just try to, take one of the questions that we already have in the chat about the Hogan Leadership Assessment. Essentially, it's a very rigorous assessment that you take that kinds of almost like builds a profile for you of what type of leader you are currently, and it has areas, it uncovers areas that you might be strong in, and it also uncovers areas that you might want to watch out for in terms of your weaknesses. I had a lot of thoughts about how I was as a leader prior to business school, but after taking that assessment, it was like holding up a mirror to me and like saying, okay, these are some parts you really need to watch out for and work on. And this assessment is shared with your coach right? So that they can help guide you through the entire program and help keep you accountable and continuously ask you, okay, so how are you doing on this part? This is why you're probably thinking about this way. Have you thought about an alternative approach to this? And it's just, I see them as, free therapists for me. So it's like, so I definitely take advantage of it. I took the individual one-on-one approach. And I would have conversations with my coach. These are the types of roles I'm thinking about, and what are the things I'm concerned about. Am I concerned about visibility within an organization? Am I concerned about communication style? Am I concerned about so many different things that come up, and you get to dig deep into it and uncover maybe why you might be thinking the way you did or you are, and some alternatives to approach things a little different. The whole leadership assessment is very, very strong. That helps paint a picture of your current self as it pertains to leadership in business, but also where you might want to make some improvements during your time in the MBA program.
Awesome, thank you. Sorry, I was trying to mute. Okay, perfect. So, and we have plenty of clubs and organizations. Again, if you want to get involved, we almost expect students to get involved. There's really not an opportunity because of our size for students to be a wallflower. So we want you to really engage and participate and show your leadership ability and skill set. But whether it's an affinity club organization or even our culinary club, our Women Business Association, any of these clubs you can definitely get involved in. I want to give you all the application checklist and then also the admissions timeline, and then we'll open it up for questions. I know a couple questions came in the chat, and I definitely want to be able to answer them before this session is over. But for us, a completed application is going to include the online application. There is a $200 application fee, but coming here, it's going to be waived automatically, and we'll also be waiving that application fee for round 2 applicants. So if you're looking to apply for next year, definitely want to try to meet that January 5th deadline to get that free $200 waived. There's also a opportunity to submit your GMAT GRE executive assessment. We do take that examination and require it, but there is an opportunity for you to request a waiver that is granted on a case-by-case basis. We're really more so looking to see your quantitative skill set, your years of work experience and leadership experience for those who are seeking a waiver. But again, they are granted on a case-by-case basis, and you do have to start an application to be considered for the waiver. We then also require an official TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo score report for international candidates if your official language or one of your official languages of your nation is not English. We ask for your academic transcripts of previously attended schools. If it's not in English, there's an opportunity to get that West certified and sent to us. There's also a request for a letter of recommendation. We only require one. I know students will ask if they can submit more than one letter. You can, but we only require the one letter, and we want that to be specifically from a supervisor or someone who is currently supervising you. And for reasons, we know that you may not necessarily be telling your supervisor that you're looking to be schooled. You can have a colleague or a previous supervisor submit that. We want your resume. That could be just a one-page resume. I get a lot of questions about the video response. That stumps students up. I would say really the video response is a get to know you verbal essay, if you will. So it's not necessarily meant to stump you. The questions are more general. Maybe one example is if you could invite anybody over for dinner, past or present, who would it be and why? And we just want to see how you answer that question and how you may think on your feet in front of a corporate recruiter. So if you are doing your video essay, I like to tell students to be intentional about maybe how you dress, the room you're in. I've seen the video essay where like a pet has gone across the screen. So again, we really want to make sure that we're able to see how you present in front of a corporate recruiter. So think of it in that nature. And then there also are 3 short essays that we ask you to complete. And then last but not least, we invite candidates for an evaluative interview, which is more behavioral. You want to make sure you have your story prepared for that. interview. So again, just running through who you are and maybe what you want to do short-term and long-term. There also are some other behavioral questions that we ask for you to maybe tell us about a time where you've been able to solve a problem or a conflict in work, or maybe the results didn't produce, and maybe what you learned from that. And then there's also a diversity essay where we really want to get to know how you interact with people who are different than you. For us, our evaluative interviews are typically done by second-year students. I think, Nimi, you're a recruiting admissions fellow, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So Nimi actually may be doing your interview if you have the opportunity to interview with us. So here's our application timeline or deadlines. We do ask international candidates to apply no later than round 3. So that's why we don't have the round 4 listed there. But I would say, I would encourage you, particularly if you're looking for scholarships, to try to get in your application by round 2. Again, that deadline is January the 5th. All right. And then I know we ask, some students will ask if there are any specific scholarships or anything we can apply for. For us, our students are automatically considered for scholarships and review. There's no additional application needed. We do ask for you to submit the diversity essay, the Forte essay, and then the LGBTQ essay if those apply, but those are all embedded in the application. And then our full tuition and special program and scholars program called the Dean Scholars will automatically consider you for that as well. Again, if you apply by that round 2 deadline. And we talked about the CMC, so again, I won't talk about that. Here's just a list of some of our top hiring companies, not necessarily mutually exclusive, but these include internship opportunities and full-time employers in the last 2 years. Here's some numbers on our salaries for our most recent graduating class that you can see here. And then for us, if you're interested in Owen, you'll be assigned to recruiting and admissions. We all have recruiting and admissions fellows, which are like student ambassadors, but then you'll also be assigned what we call a recruiting manager who's there to help you with the application process and again, answer any questions that you have. All right. And sorry if I felt like I rushed. I really just want to make sure I have the opportunity to answer you all's questions though. So I'm going to look in the chat and see if there's any questions that we maybe didn't answer. But for now, feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask your questions, or you can pop it in the chat, whatever is your preference.
Yeah, there's one question about alumni influence in African countries, especially Nigeria, for individuals that would like to come back home after studies. I know that we do have a few alumni, at least in Nigeria, but I don't know that there are too many. But we do have a lot of African alumni that you can reach out to that have networks and connections back home in Africa. I think a lot of our alumni typically stay to work here at least for a little bit before going somewhere else post graduation. But I know that we do have a couple in Nigeria. I'm not quite sure about other countries, but you can definitely use LinkedIn to kind of filter that out. And if you need connections in a specific, industry, the fact that the alumni are here don't mean that they can't connect you with resources that you need to accomplish whatever it is you're looking to do back home in Africa. So yeah, I wouldn't let that limit how you use your network to achieve your goals.
Awesome, thank you. I see a question asking about second-year students assisting first-year students in the MBA career search. I think Mimi may have talked about our peer coaches, and that's really a big opportunity for that to take place in conjunction with the Career Management Center. Again, if you don't necessarily want to ask, that's the more formalized way, I'd say, but I think it happens, honestly, just organically amongst our students too. Let's see what other questions.
I have one hand raised. Abdullahi, you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My first question will go to Ajayi Nimi, sorry, specifically. I've applied for the GMAT waiver and I've been granted, but I got a clause when it was granted that some recruiters do request for GMAT score when you are going through your recruitment process, especially if you are going to consulting or finance. I want to ask if you witnessed any of such. And then secondly, my generic question will be on the leadership program that we talked about. In terms of assessment of your strengths and weaknesses, do the Career Center also help you to redefine your goals? Because it's one thing to have a goal at heart now, and then when you get to school, the Career Center might say, oh, looking at your current CV and your current career projection, I think this will be the best career path to go into. So do they do that, or do they just leave it to you to decide on your own and things like that? So those are my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Abdullah, for the question. I can answer the first one. I recruited for consulting, and yes, some companies do request your GMAT score, but they are aware that a lot of top business schools, at least in the last 2 years, have offered GMAT waivers. So the GMAT is just one metric that they use to decide. But if you did get a GMAT waiver, they will be looking at other things on your resume to see if you have the requisite experience. Maybe like your GPA becomes more of a stronger indication of maybe your quantitative, ability. And within the program, Vanderbilt is actually one of the schools in the top 25 that still does not necessarily have a grade non-disclosure policy. So you have your first mod if you're looking at recruiting for internships, you have your first mod GPA that you can also show in your certain courses that can indicate that you are top talent or you are in the top, whether it's 10%, 20% of your class. That would help them make some of those judgments that they might need. So if you are going the route of going with the GMAT waiver, I wouldn't worry too much about it, but I would want you to make sure that other parts of your application are strong and there are ways that you can prove that they're strong. And with regards to your second question about redefinition of goals, I think your career coach will work with you, but ultimately you decide how you want them to work with you. If you can ask many questions, and with the answers that you get from different parts of whether working with the CMC or working with your career coach, you can start to assess. Yes, they might advise that this is what we've seen students maybe struggle with in the past, or we've seen students being more successful doing it this way. But ultimately, the MBA experience is yours. You get to decide how you want to go about it. Whether it is you want to do entrepreneurship, and all of a sudden, you start to think about consulting. Like you get to shape what you want out of it. But the more you ask questions, the more you have data points to make an appropriate decision that works best for you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much for that answer. I really appreciate it.
I have a question. Ashley, can I go for it about why I chose the shared approach?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yes. So, I mean, I think before I mention why I chose a shared approach, I'd like to, give you some bit of an insight onto my experience, throughout my journey. I mean, considering, I'm Nigerian, coming from Nigeria, and of course we have some peculiarities. And of course, I think it would be a good opportunity for me to thank my recruiting manager, Ashley, because she was with me all through the process, following through, hey, how are you doing? What's the situation? How's the situation with your visa? When are we expecting you? What date are you arriving? Right, so I chose the shared approach because I'm entering into a different environment, right? I'm entering into a different, but I want a situation where I could get constructive feedback, where I could feel quote unquote vulnerable, right? I feel, because the cultures are different. The perspectives are different. The experience is different. So I thought to myself, I had the opportunity, of course, to decide if I wanted the individual coaching approach or if I was going to go for the shared approach. And I chose the shared approach because I wanted real feedback, constructive feedback. I wanted to be in the situation where I could get real-time feedback from my classmates. We're in the same group, we're in the same class, we'll listen to the same professors, right? I needed people that could help me, you know. I mean, it's because it's a bridge, right? So as they're giving me the feedback, I'm also providing them with constructive feedback on how they could become better professionals. And guess what? I mean, when we were having our first meeting, we went out for dinner, the three of us together, you know, we had dinner, we got to know ourselves better. So we're trying to build long-term relationships, right? Relationships that, you know, would transcend many countries and many years to come. So I really would prefer, you know, my goal, of course, coming to the business school is to use every single opportunity which I have to build more friendships, better connections, because the goal at the end of the day is to become global business leaders, right? So I considered it an opportunity for me to get involved with even more people. And I'm really glad. I mean, it's been a good experience for me, no regrets whatsoever.
I see there's a couple of questions that we're like almost at time. So I did want to point out the Uji's question about the STEM designation. Yes, we do have a STEM designated MBA. Those options are going to be the finance concentration and the operations and data analytics concentration. So the earlier you declare those, the better in regards to STEM designation. So the last question is answered. Let's see.
Yeah.
Ashley, I think there's actually like 3 questions on the English tests. So like that's IELTS, and yeah, I think those ones are recurring.
Okay, that's good. I was like trying to filter through. Thank you. Yeah, so the English proficiency. So yeah, so you can take either the TOEFL, the IELTS, or the Duolingo. I see people a little bit nervous about them, in my opinion. And again, this is Ashley speaking as a representative of Ashley, not as Vanderbilt business, but the Duolingo is probably the easiest option. The only thing is it's not a test that you prepare for, which I actually like, and just see kind of where you are at the time, where the TOEFL and the IELTS are more of a test that you can prepare for, like a standardized test, if you will. And the Duolingo is also cheaper. I think it may be $50 American in relation to some of the other tests, but you can take, we don't have a preference. You can take any of those tests. Let me see what the questions are specifically. Is the English a core requirement considering we are from English? Yeah, so it's a requirement if you're, even if your country speaks English, fine, but your country has to have that like English declared as an official language. Does that make sense? Yeah.
There's a question here. I mean, about international students who may not be as integrated as their peers, you know, because I mean, I think coming in again from Nigeria very recently, I could share my experience with you. I mean, it's only normal for you to have this feeling, right? And that's why I would really give credit to the class size. You know, it feels good for you to be in a community where you have a voice, where you could speak up, where you could listen, where you could get feedback, where you could learn, where everyone could address you by first name, right? I mean, so it's natural for you to feel pressured, you know, imposter syndrome, which is called, you know, you'll be thinking, oh, am I this good? Do I know this? I mean, one thing I would assure you, everyone feels this, every single person. International, domestic, foreign, every single student has this kind of experience, right? So what I would share with you is this. I mean, coming into the program, be rest assured you have all the necessary resources, the support, you know, to help you get out of that comfort zone, that situation where you feel not comfortable to. So for instance, I mean, your professor asks you a question and you're thinking, oh my God, I know this, but I'm not sure. How about my accent? How is it going to be perceived? You know, how do people receive this? I mean, you have the opportunity because of the nature of the class. It becomes easier for you to find your voice. It becomes easier for you to warm up to the culture. It becomes easier for you to get feedback. It becomes easier for you to contribute to the class. So this has been my experience. Everyone experiences. I mean, it's not new, but I assure you, you have the right environment for you to thrive. I mean, I've experienced it firsthand, right? So you have the right support, you have the right environment, and I think you're going to be just, if I could do fine, I promise you, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, and also you can feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn if you have any other questions. I will throw this out there, and not sponsored by Vanderbilt or anything. With the Omicron permitting, I will be in Nigeria this December, and I'm happy to connect with 1 or 2 people. I'll have a pretty busy schedule, but you feel free to reach out to me if you want to connect for lunch or something. I'd be happy to I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to connect with everybody on this call, but schedule permitting, I'd be open to connecting with a couple prospective students if you're interested. So you just feel free to add me on LinkedIn and reach out to me. We can chat.
Thank you very much, Nimi. So actually, can we take 2 more questions because we have 2 people's hands raised up?
Yeah, I'm here to stay. So for everyone who needs to leave, feel free to. But yeah, I can hang out for sure.
Oh, great. So Oluwatayo, can you go on mute and you can ask your question?
Oh, hi everyone, and thanks for this session. It's actually quite informative. It's actually been quite difficult connecting with current students and alumni. I have added a couple of people, try to connect with a couple of people on LinkedIn, but they're not accepting the requests. So yeah, this is to address the previous speaker's statement where he said that we could connect on LinkedIn. So I don't know why that's happening.
Yeah, so I can actually take that one. So first of all, I think recently LinkedIn changed their settings to where you kind of have to have a premium subscription to send a message. Typically, I see a lot of people just, they add you on LinkedIn. If I don't know who you are and I don't know what the purpose of, the connection is, it would be difficult for me to just say, okay, accept. But if you can come with a message and say, you know what, I'm a student with this background and I want to connect about Vanderbilt, I'd be happy to chat. Obviously, I do get a lot of people reaching out to me, 1, because I'm the president of the Black Students Association, 2, because, maybe I'm in the healthcare field or something, then they want to pivot into healthcare. And as you will quickly find out, the program is a very, very rigorous one. We're busy trying to recruit, complete assignments. So sometimes it might take a little bit of time to even get to LinkedIn messages. But one thing that I can assure you is that a lot of students here, if they understand the purpose of your connection, they are very open and willing to reach out and help. So I think one way to go about it can be to say, if you really have a pressing question, Ashley is a resource that you can reach out to and say, okay, I would like to connect with a student with this background or this, on this topic. And she can, if maybe you can't send a message on LinkedIn, maybe because you don't have a premium subscription, I wouldn't let that deter you. Reach out to Ashley and say, you know what, can you connect me with a student that might be able to help me with this? And we are aware of what the purpose of the conversation is, and we can find ways to work around our calendar to connect with you. So it's not that students don't want to connect. We just don't know what the purpose is, and we don't know who the other person is, because at the end of the day, our LinkedIns are that's your professional network, right? And you want to ensure that you maintain the integrity of your professional network. So if I don't really know who is reaching out to me and why, it might be difficult for me to just say, oh, accept. Then what's the difference between that and just, reading every spam email that you get? I'm pretty sure a lot of things just, get filtered out. So that's the approach that I would take to that. If you're really interested in finding out about certain things or asking certain questions, there are a few ways to go about it. And there are recruiting and admissions fellows as well on the website. Their emails are posted, and you can reach out directly to them by email. It might take a couple of days, a week, or even 2 weeks to be able to get back to you, but I'm pretty sure that they are very that's the role that they're in to connect with you and provide any resources that you might need.
I'm one of that. So, feel free to go on the site. I could drop that. You could feel free to reach any of us on the site if you need more information.
Yeah, and also on the site, there's a way to go ahead and schedule a time to connect to. So if you don't want to go back and forth via email, you could just have access to the Recruiting and Admissions Fellows calendar and put a time on to connect.
I would just add to what Mimi Ajibola and Ashley said, and this is based on my experience actually. So I reached out to Nimi last year via LinkedIn, and pretty much everyone from Lane that actually applied to Vanderbilt actually reached out to Nimi for that. And he responded to all of us. So the key, like he said, is ensure that when you send out a message, like when you're trying to connect with someone, especially a current student, alumni, anyone pretty much on LinkedIn, put a note there. My notes actually did open the door, which I actually did mention that I'm from Lane. And he responded actually, because Nimi was actually a mentor last year on the LAM program. So yeah, pretty much everyone that had queries or inquiries about Vanderbilt Owen went to Nimi. So yes, shout out for that because he responded to everyone. But please don't send requests without notes. And to be honest, no one would actually respond to you because they don't really know your intentions. So be clear, like be very clear when you're sending that out. Just add it to, can someone go on mute? I think someone is speaking. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Too bad we couldn't get you at Vanderbilt, but
I know, I was sad too. Mr. Clearly, you still love us.
yes. Well, you guys have been amazing. Because I connected with Joshua, who is actually still my very good friend. So I connected with the entire team from Vanderbilt from MBA tour last year, and then I kept in touch. And so alumni like Joshua have been amazing to me. So like, yeah, good.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna tell me how to pronounce your name when you unmute yourself, please. If you don't.
Ashley, Titobi, it's called Titobi Lolua. I think Ajibola should be able to pronounce my name better now. Ajibola. Hi, Ajibola.
Yeah, hi. Nice to connect.
Okay, my name is Titobi, and nice meeting you, Nimi. I have actually connected with Ajibola. We had an explosive session, and I also connected with Brandon, and they really put Vanderbilt to my face and really made me fall in love already with the program. And I was able to connect with Amanda also before I even spoke to both of them. And I tell you, I just hope I get into Vanderbilt. Though I applied to like pretty few schools where I already got some favorable decisions, but I really want to come to Vanderbilt. And Mimi, I know I've not been able to connect with any second year students, and it will be great connecting with you. I'm really happy you're coming to Nigeria this December. I will try and connect with you via LinkedIn and probably get you to launch on me and anywhere in Lagos you like to go. I really like to have that session with you. And to Ashley, I want to ask a question, just a very pretty simple question. And it's on the English test waiver. I've been able to submit my application done. I also had my interview with Yogi. And but English test waiver was waived for Nigerians, but I wrote Duolingo and I also have IELTS. Me submitting those two English tests, does it give strength to my application despite the fact that they've been waived already?
If it's waived, we're probably not going to. I mean, we may look at it, but we're not gonna use it since you're from an English speaking country. So yeah, it can't hurt you to say the least.
Okay, so I think that's just my question, and I applied to round 2 already, and I hope for a favorable decision, and probably yeah, is the goal.
Awesome, thank you, and thank you for telling me how to pronounce your name. Love it. It's a question. Oh, it's no. Abdul.
Yeah. Hello, Ashley.
Yes. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Yeah, I just wanted to ask if the GMAT or GRE waiver, does it affect international students with a non-US degree? Does it affect your application overall?
So how I like to talk about the GMAT or the GRE executive test and waiver in general is that keep in mind that the test score is a requirement, right? But we do provide waivers on a case-by-case basis for reasons that may be beyond your control, that you can't necessarily take the exam, or if you just have the qualifications to receive the waiver. So it doesn't necessarily affect you as a whole, as if we waived it, we're saying you have a skill set that we need. However, we do use it as additional data points. So if you had a test score and you did well, that could be a benefit to you in relation to scholarship dollars or anything like that. And then also, as Nimi mentioned, there are some companies in particular in some industries, including like finance and consulting, who do want to see a GMAT score in the recruiting process. So the actual like career recruiting process. So you may either have to take an exam then, or they may want to see a test then. But as far as admissions, it doesn't necessarily hurt you just when you look at admissions by itself. But if you're adding, thinking about scholarship dollars, or you're adding, thinking about what industry you want to go into, then it may be in your best interest to take an exam if you have the ability to do so. We just didn't want it to be a barrier to admission with everything that's going on.
Okay, yeah, that was really helpful. Yeah, I wanted to ask one more question. It's basically with like the career support. So with international students, I wanted to know what's the percentage of international students that get like job offers, or
your volume's going in and out, Abdul. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to ask, like, what's the percentage of international students that get like internships or job offers after the MBA or during the MBA itself?
I think a percentage. Actually, let me look that up. I don't know that offhand specifically to internet, but I think we have that information. Hold on one second.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody that's reaching out. As you can imagine, it'll probably be a few people reaching out. I will get back to you. It might take a day or two, but I'm making sure to accept all your requests, and I will try to connect with as many people as I can over the next few weeks.
And same, I'm not the best at LinkedIn at accepting requests, because I'll get a lot of prospective students and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I also get other like stuff like other software. So again, try to, the best way for me is email if you want to connect, not necessarily via LinkedIn.
Ashley and Nimi, please, can you push your email addresses in the
absolutely
comment? Yes, please, so people can actually have that if that's your preferred means of contact.
I'll also include my my number as well. I know it's a US number though, so email probably best to set up a Zoom link for free.
Okay, so we have 3 more questions. I know, but please.
And Abdul, I probably email me to connect if that's okay about the international numbers. I don't want to hold everyone else up, but email me. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to say I connected with Ajibola this week. Well, I haven't really spoken to him yet, but yeah, he accepted my request, and that was by sending a personalized message to him. Then he knew I wanted to ask about Vanderbilt. Yeah, that was I think I will advise everyone to do that as well.
Awesome. All right, let's get to some of these other questions. David? Or Uji? I'm not sure who was first.
I think Uji's hand was first.
Okay, thank you. Uji?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question is similar to what the last person asked. I've been trying to apply, and I'm looking at getting both a GRE waiver and an IELTS waiver. So I just still wanted to clarify. I know someone asked about the GRE part, and I was going to ask about the IELTS one, if this is going to impact my my admission, if it's going to impact the process or the decision rather in any way, or maybe I should just hold on and probably take the Duolingo. I already have the IELTS general training test score, but I don't know if that's going to be acceptable. So I want to know if it's going to impact in any way, or if I should just take the Duolingo test to stand a better chance.
So are you asking which tests you should take? Or if your IELTS score is high enough?
Hello? No.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I intended to get a waiver for both GRE and the IELTS test. Although I have the general training IELTS, I don't know if that's going to be accepted. So if I get a waiver for both GRE and IELTS, is it going to impact the decision to give me a space or not?
Well, let me ask, what country are you, are you a citizen?
I'm from Nigeria.
Oh, we don't need it then. Your test will be waived automatically. It is a manual process, so it's probably showing up on your checklist or showing up as something that you need. Well, we will go into the system, and if you, based on the other things that we find, we will waive your IELTS. As far as your other test score, your GRE or GMAT, it won't necessarily, if we grant you a waiver, it's not a guarantee of admission, but it's also not going to be anything that we're gonna not admit you because you got a waiver, if that makes sense. Like if we gave you the waiver, we're saying that you meet the requirements that we look for in the standardized test. Does that make sense? I feel like it was confusing.
Oh, okay, sorry, I lost you for a bit. You said because I'm from Nigeria, I automatically get a waiver?
For the language proficiency, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like we can take the last two questions from Frederick and David. I want to be cognizant of everyone's time.
Can I go?
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for organizing this. And it's nice to meet an admissions officer finally. I've been trying to connect with one and it's really difficult. I guess the season is really busy for you guys over there. Well, my question is one that has been a problem to me. My situation is, I just wanted to find out how, what my chances are of securing not just the admission, but also funding, because funding is a major issue for me particularly. The thing is, I am requesting a GRE waiver based on my current professional capacity, where I do a lot of quantitative work, and I also have a postgraduate degree in business administration, but my undergrads are not so great. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I decided to go for a postgrad, especially in business administration, to understand what the rigors. I know it's not the same, it's not comparable, but it's just for me to get a baseline to understand what I'm really up against. So what I'm asking basically is, what are my chances for someone like me? I don't have a good undergrad, but I have a postgrad in business administration, and I'm also requesting a waiver based on my based on the kind of work I do, which is highly quantitative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in full transparency, there's probably no way for me to know your chances of being admitted until you apply and seeing your full application. GPA is important, but that's not the only factor when we're looking at admitting students. We've seen great GPAs and even great test scores, but maybe the student just wasn't Owen wasn't a good option for that student for other factors, maybe the interview or your essays, or maybe your career goals or something like that. So there's no way to say definitively, but I would say definitely apply if you're concerned about your GPA, and then also not having a standardized test. Realistically, I don't know, but you do have that post-bachelor degree that may be a benefit to you. But I would say start an application and then first see if you get the waiver. If you don't get the waiver, to me, that'll be an indication that you maybe need to go ahead and take the test, and then let that be your solution or your leveraging tool, maybe potentially for the GPA that you don't have. Does that help?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem. And then last but not least, David.
Wait, sorry. I just
Oh, I'm
remembered
sorry.
something.
You have more questions. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I asked earlier, you mentioned that if you're going for a STEM designation or a STEM concentration, you should have to declare earlier. Can you please elaborate what you mean by declare earlier?
Yeah, so good question. So let's say, so for example, we'll have, let's say a student applies to Owen and gets into Owen, and then they are thinking they want to pursue marketing. And then maybe in their second year, they're like, oh, I can't find an opportunity in marketing or so forth. And they want to switch to operations or finance, which are STEM designations. That can be a little bit more difficult, one, in relation to the courses that you may need to complete, but then also with the immigration processes and so forth. So when I say declare, just have that intention sooner rather than later. So even on your application, maybe put a STEM designated option, or when you're working with career management during your first and second mod, that's more of what I mean. Necessarily don't come in as like only healthcare, only marketing or so forth. And then your second year, like, oh, wait, I need to switch to one of these STEM designated fields because I want to stay in the US longer. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, I think it's my turn now. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for this opportunity. Frederick just asked part of what I wanted to know about, and I think it's a lot clearer to me now. Connected with Rinji, because at least we're from the same school, we graduated from the same school, and the issue is about STEM. What I understood from my discussion with him, I thought every specialization in Owen was STEM based. So when I saw from the conversations this evening, I saw that you mentioned you have to indicate early if you wanted the STEM. I wanted to just be very sure if it's that there are other specializations or other fields under the MBA that are not STEM based, but I think you have already thrown more light on it. So I'm a lot clearer on it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not a one size fits all. You don't have to. It just, I would say I've seen it being easier for our students who have the STEM designated declaration earlier when they're looking through the process. But again, no, not all of our concentrations are STEM designated, just the finance and operations data analytics right now.
Yeah, and I can add something to that quickly. Like Ashley said, we have different concentrations, but there are opportunities for you to do more than one concentration. So if you wanted to do marketing, for instance, and marketing wasn't or isn't STEM concentration, you can pair it with data analytics, you can pair it with operations, you can pair it with finance, and say, so you have maybe a finance and marketing, or a healthcare and operations and analytics. So that way you still fulfill the STEM requirements from a degree standpoint. So you don't have to just do a STEM concentration if that's not what you're interested in. It just really helps with the immigration process, frankly, because you get 1 year to work after a graduate program. But if you have a STEM designated program, you can get an additional 2 years of extension. So from that perspective, it helps you with your recruiting chances, because companies don't want to hire somebody for 1 year and, without the certainty that they can continue for a little bit longer. So having that STEM designation helps. So, but you don't have to just strictly do STEM designation. Vanderbilt gives you the opportunity to pair different concentrations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for explaining that, Mimi. All right, any other questions? No, all right. I know we're over, so I thank you all for coming. Oh, wait, Michael. Oh.
I'm so sorry. All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so can I go?
Sorry, who's that?
I'm sorry. Oh, Frederick.
Yes.
No, I think Abdullah was speaking.
Or Abdullah, yeah.
All right.
Or Michael, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, was it Michael? Who was speaking? I think it was Michael or Abdullah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Ella.
good evening, everyone. Can I go ahead, please?
To be honest, I'm not sure. So the thing is that we have to round off in 3 minutes because our guests have actually stayed here for 30 minutes longer. So if your question is not so short, I would say that please send an email to Ashley, Nimi, and Ajibola as well, because I feel like they've actually spent quite a lot of time with us. And we would like, so if your question is not, like, if you don't think it's short, please just send an email. But if it's short, like, please just go on mute, off mute and just jump on.
Please, I can go. I've asked questions already.
Michael,
Frederick, if you have a question, just make it very quick, 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. What I wanted to ask is going to take an elaborate answer, but can you succinctly just, what I want to know is the Vanderbilt experience. I've interacted with some current students, like 2 current students, and there's something that I really don't want to understand, but I think I'll just send you an email instead. I think I'll send you an email. Thank you.
Okay, so Michael, do you want to go? I just want to give us, I want to give someone who haven't asked like a question an opportunity. Michael, do you want to go?
No, I'll send an email. Thank you.
So it's Michael Adatang. I'm so sorry. Okay. I think it's fine. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you so much, Nimi. Thank you so much, Ajibola, for being a part of Lane today and the MBA for Africa. I'm sure a lot of people would reach out to you and connect with you. So on behalf of Lane, we really thank you. And we wish you a fantastic holiday in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Yes, after finals. This is for Nimi and Ajibola. Ashley, enjoy your holidays. I'm sure you would hear a lot from members of Lane. And for members of Lane, please don't forget to actually put a note when you are reaching out to current students and alumni as well. Lane is the keyword. Like, it worked for Nimi. Like, that's how he was able to answer all of us. To be honest, he reached out to everyone. But please just remember that when you're introducing yourself, it's very important to understand why you actually want to connect with the person and how you feel like the person would be able to help you. Thank you very much, Ashley. Thank you very much, guys. So we're going to end the session now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Nimi and Ajibola.